Hi, it's Stacey McLean here. This is video number 3 in my series on how to write a book fast. I'm in the process of writing my 4th book as we speak, and so I'm recording this as I go through the journey of writing that so I can remember some of the things that have helped me and share that journey with you as we look at the process of writing a book. So the last 2 videos were about the preparation stage for writing. So we're just about ready to get started with the writing. So I've just got a few points here. My first point is to ask for advice. So after you have put together your plan of what you think your book will look like and the kind of things you'll include, taking into consideration the author, the audience that you have and your why, a good thing is just to run it by some people, some friends and family. Now choose people that you know that are going to be honest with you and are truthful and can give you some feedback, some positive and some negative in a loving way, but will be really honest with you. So people that you really trust, and just give them a little rundown of what you think the book is going to be about and what it's going to be like, and just get their feedback on it. If they say they don't like it, doesn't mean you have to scrap the whole thing, but it'll give you a bit of idea if you're on the right track or not, and some of the things you might want to change or tweak or include things that you haven't even thought about. The next thing I've got here is be flexible. Now, when I prepared my outline, as in like in the last video I talked about, the first one I had, I kind of sat down and started trying to write and putting it together, and it just didn't work. So I had to go back a couple of steps and re-rig that and try and get the flow a bit more. So it kind of all, that process of stepping back and looking at how it went, how it looks all together, that just didn't fit when I actually sat down to write. So I've had to go back actually a couple of times with this particular book and rework that working structure. So now I've got a structure that I'm quite happy with. But even as I'm writing, little bits of it are changing along the way. So it's really important that you're flexible. Flexible as you go through the process, because a book is kind of a living thing. It kind of evolves as you go through the journey, and parts of it, there'll be things in it that you really want to put into it but just don't fit with the story or the way that your book is coming together. So you need to be flexible to remove some of the things you like. And one thing I did, particularly in my first book, there was a whole lot of stuff that I wanted to include because it was my first book and I thought it was going to be my only book, so I wanted to put everything in there. But what I found was I actually kept a lot out, and that led into a second and third book. So just on your first book, if you're working on that at the moment, that some of that stuff that may not fit within that structure of that book may be second or third or fourth books for you. So you could keep that aside for the next one. And my third point is to write unedited. So once you've got your structure and everything, you sit down to write. It's so easy to write and keep going back and editing yourself and trying to make the book perfect as you go along. What I find is better is just to actually sit down and write, and just get it all out for your first draft, get it all out, everything that you want, and just all the ideas that you've got, not so much edited. And then I will do a little bit of, so if I'm working on a chapter, I might just write everything down, then go back and reread it again, add things to it and things like that. But for your first draft, to get the first draft for the whole book, just write it all down. So that's what I'm doing at the moment, is working on my first draft. I'm about halfway through the first draft. And it is not really going as I had planned. All my other books have kind of fell together really easily, so this one has been a little bit of a struggle. And that doesn't mean that's a bad thing, it just means I just need to be putting a little bit of more work into it, and a little bit more on that planning and tweaking, and just really focusing a lot more and being a lot more flexible with the way that it's coming together and the way that God has in the intention that He has for it, and just need to be listening a little bit more rather than in my own head. So my last point is to run away. Now I found as I've been writing this week, there have been times when I've been really stuck. I work from a home office at home, and I just, sometimes it's just so easy to get distracted with Facebook and emails and the washing or laundry or just the kids coming in or whatever's going on. And so I just found there was a few times this week I just had to run away. So I ran away to the local library and set myself up there, got plugged in my laptop, and got a number of full hours their writing, and I found that was really good to have good uninterrupted writing time, no distractions from like that I have at home, and also no Wi-Fi, so that led me to be really focused. And what I got accomplished in those few hours that I was at the library was really good work, rather than if I was at home even with the same amount of time I wouldn't get as much done. So these are my 4 points for today. So ask for advice, seek good trusted people that you know and will give you true honest feedback. Be flexible in the process as you evolve and develop with this writing in this book, this new book. It is kind of going to be, it's a process, and it involves, and it has a kind of a life of its own as you go along. And write unedited. At this stage you just want to write and sit down and write. If you're trying to edit as you go along, sometimes you get so stuck on choosing the exact right word that you want, or to phrase a sentence a certain way, you're not actually getting the writing done. So really just this first draft is just to sit down and write everything down, and then you'll go back and look at it again. And so that's the process that I'm in at the moment with my book. And the last point was to run away. So maybe you just need to get some time out, find a new spot, even if you go and sit out in the garden with your laptop, or a place that really inspires you, that you can have some peace and quiet and uninterrupted time. So I hope that's been helpful, and I will continue with another video soon as I continue in this process. I love this process at this time in the process when I'm starting to get really into it and excited about the book, but it's also a lot of hard work and quite tiring at times, but I'm really excited to be able to share more about what I'm going through at this time. So until next time, live your life with hope, freedom and happiness.